This video is about absolutely nothing. Nothing. But I'm going to ramble on at you. So if you don't know, my name is Anthony Cummins and I'm the author of these books behind me. If any of them take your fancy, click the link. And I'm going to click the link below. I'm going to put a link there, so just click it and see what other books of mine you've got. I've done up to 20 books. So what I'm going to do first of all is just talk directly to my subscribers. So if you're one of my subscribers, just listen to this for a bit, then let's have a see where the conversation takes us, see where we get to, because there's a couple of bits we're going to talk about, predominantly Japanese history. First of all, I just want to say, guys, there's going to be a bit of a change in the channel. As you guys know, you've been following me, I'm trying to find a way to make this channel like ramp up a bit, because, you know, as you guys know, we've talked about it before, and not to keep complaining, but my channel keeps hitting rock bottom, so I'm thinking of different ways, different approaches to do. So originally I decided to make a few other channels to see if this was shadow banned. I asked YouTube, they said you're not shadow banned, blah blah blah. So I made a few other channels and none of them did very well, so it's obviously what I am doing wrong. So I made a channel on Western culture and traditions, been going like 3 years, got 500 subscribers, rubbish. I made a channel on War Duke and D&D and all that, and fantasy, it's got 30 subscribers. I've got like loads of videos on it, doesn't work. Obviously I've got my Natori video, my Natori Ryu channel, which is fine, that's fine, that plods along for students, that's alright. So that, and I even have a real samurai martial arts channel, or a samurai martial arts real training channel, and basically I do that, and that's not doing very well. I must admit, I do need to upload on that. It's been a couple of months since I've been uploading. So what I'm going to do is, it's a lot of effort to run all the channels. I'm probably going to let them peter out or do just little bits here and there on them, and I'm going to focus here on this channel. So I think I have two types of subscribers here, two types of returning ones. Those who want, I'm going to call them the drama queens, those who want the Bujinkan drama, and those who want real hardcore history of the ninja. Predominantly ninja, not samurai. When I put samurai stuff up, it does much less than the ninja. So they're the main two, and I'm gonna have to apologize to you guys now, because unfortunately I know that's what you're here for, but I'm gonna have to branch out a bit, guys. I'm really gonna have to branch out. I'm 47 now, and I've been doing this for now 20 years, and I've got other interests. Don't get me wrong, ninja is the main interest. Through ninja, I ended up at samurai. Even though I love samurai anyway, it's like, when I started, it's like ninja v samurai. You throw dust in one eye, and it's like, I've got that all gone now. And it's like the samurai, which means once you hit samurai, you have to go to, all right, now I need to know about Chinese culture, because if I don't know about Chinese culture, I don't know about Japanese culture. If I don't know about Japanese culture, I don't know about samurai. If I don't know about samurai, I don't know about ninja. So unfortunately, when people say to me, oh, Anthony, you know, you've not done ninja videos for ages. Well, I have. They're just wrapped up in samurai and Japanese culture. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to do a couple of things. And one I tried, but it didn't really work, is the ancient aliens. So obviously, I'm not thinking ancient aliens came to the earth and they sort of helped the samurai. But the simple fact is in Buddhism, many samurai believed that, many Japanese people and Indian people believed that such and such came from another planet. It's not another dimension, it's clearly from a planet, and they came down. But I won't go down that route too far, but I'm not scared of going that route. People have said, oh, you know, you're doing the ancient aliens. No, I'm doing what Japanese culture says, And the other one I'm going to do is a bit of more medieval stuff, maybe Viking stuff, things like that. And obviously knights. I love knights. I love crusades. I love the crusades. And I look like a crusader, I think. Grumpy old man I am. And I'm going to do some of that. But what I'm also going to do is some fantasy stuff. I have noticed, to be fair, and I honestly, guys, I stayed away from it so much because I didn't agree with it. Like, I saw all sorts of videos on, like, I can't remember who uploaded them, but like big channels have uploaded, like, what would unicorn armor look like? If angels had armor, what would they look like? And does this computer game do this? And, you know, and as much as that's fun, I always thought, no, we want to be a serious history channel. But being a serious history channel on Japanese samurai doesn't seem to work at the minute. I've also had a discussion with the Shogunate and Nick, and he actually gave me a bit of a telling off in a lovely way, as Nick is lovely. Basically, I was saying, you know, Japan is not cool anymore, nobody likes Japan. And he came on and said, actually, Anthony, I think it is still cool. We get a lot of hits there. And it made me reevaluate what I was thinking. And I think samurai history is no longer cool. Japanese martial arts is no longer cool. Japanese culture, fantasy culture. It's probably very cool. So Stephen Nuggier is away at the minute, or he's not available at the minute, but we're going to do a video on when he's free in a month or two, whenever he's free. Stephen comes in and out of life. I'm sure he's actually an alien, and he just off he goes. He comes back and says, "Oh, I've just got to go for a few days, Anthony. I'm doing this." Flies off to wherever he flies off to. You'll have to excuse me, I'm having a drink as well. I'm on caffeine-free Diet Coke. My one vice, I'm eating 0 sugar. I've done it for 30 days, 40 days, and I'm going to try and do it till December. So over 90 days. So that's the only thing that's keeping me from going insane. So what I am going to do is start adding some fantasies. So if you start seeing Dungeons and Dragons, role play, board games, Hero Quest, just go with it, guys. I've got to try to get people to like samurai culture again, and what we need is subscribers and all that sort of stuff and all that malarkey. I've got to get them, and I've got to be sane, because what I find difficult, so this is the drama queen problem, is occasionally, and I do it on purpose, I'm not even going to lie, I 100% do it on purpose, I do the let's flash out Hatsumi video. The other one I did, Hatsumi versus Kawakami, I think it was, 6,000 hits. If I go and get you extreme good, well-researched information on Japanese language and something to do with the ninja from, Japanese history, 400 hits, 8,000 hits. If I bang Hatsumi's face on it, look at this, guys. Woo! 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, something like 20,000. It's like, I can't keep recycling the same old, wow, Hatsumi video. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to, even though I don't mind talking about it occasionally, because some things are relevant, on the whole, they're just hype videos to try and keep everyone. And you know, guys, now with YouTube, you have to do the, did you know this? Aliens, you know what I mean? Or did you know this? You know, blah, blah, blah. And then you put a really crazy face on the thumbnail and it gets you millions of views, which never works, and you get like 700 views, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's one of those. And again, I'm not complaining, guys, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to tell you, how do I build up with this? Now, I thought, I love art, I love painting. If you don't know, right here, I'm in this caravan because, as you guys know, for 2.5 years now, nearly 3 years, I've been building this house. And we've probably got about 6 months left before these caravans go. And even after I've built a house, I think I'll build an office, but at least I'll be in my bedroom over there as an office, and then we'll build an office and come over here. So I'm 47, I'm hoping everything will be done by 50, and I'll just be 100%. But as of next year, it'll be easy. But what you can't see around you is, I've got tons of miniatures. Look at that. My mate, Kev, who used to appear on this channel quite a lot, he's 3D prints. So we play games together. I've got friends who play games. I've never been, I never used to openly say, one thing I never used to do was talk about martial arts, talk about my interests, because I always thought they were different from, business. They're not. But people love, they get invested in the person as well. And I understand you get invested in people who are YouTubers. That's the difference between, I think, the small screen television, the silver screen. You get invested. So people get invested in the film, in the franchise. Here in YouTube, you tend to get invested in the person and what they are doing. So I'm going to give you a bit more of my personal life, if that's okay. Obviously not too personal, because you've got to keep some things. But we have, just to give you an example, got 2 sets of friends. I played role play since I was, role playing, D&D, murder, and all this sort of stuff, since I was about 16. When I was about 10, I played Warhammer 40,000. That was about 1989. Warhammer 40,000, painted the miniatures, used to take them to my dad's at the weekend when went to my dad's, paint the miniatures, painted them at home. Me and my mate Col Ward just painted all the time. More than playing, I love painting over playing. I'd love to have the space to have a craft room to do dioramas and everything. One of my dreams, guys, is to build. In fact, I've got a dream which I'd like to make into a book, into a model, and into an adventure, and that would be find the largest Gothic cool castle in the world. Travel the world and visit all the castles and say, look at this. Then build a model of a village with a castle above it in a massive room, all with the LED lights in. I would love it so much. And then do a painting of the greatest castle ever. I love castles. I love knights. Probably more than samurai. Right? Ninja is top, knights are second, samurai is third. The just problem is I happen to know a lot more about samurai than I do about knights. When I started 20 years ago with knights and things like that, I was on the cusp with everybody else doing the HEMA and all that and stuff. But I was just switched because I thought, what can I do? I can do English stuff, you know. You can sort of get along with German, English, Italian. But what can I? I love Japan. But what am I going to do? And then Yoshi popped up and it was like swing the other way because I started doing Viking books and things like that. So I went 100% Japan, and now I'm a bit Japan burnt out. I do love it, and I really do love it. But I mean, deep down, obsession love it. Obviously, I'm a 47-year-old man who reads in his spare time about samurai after he's worked about samurai. Do you know what I mean? But I do love, basically, I love the 14 and 1500s. If I'm honest with you, all over the world, I love, well, in the cultured world, you know, like castles, you know, ironwork, you know, not tribal societies. I'm not a massive fan of tribal societies. Like, I love Anglo-Saxons, I adore because I'm English, but they still had that metallurgy, they still had that grand designs and everything. But I'm not a massive fan of, like, a lot of people into African tribes and Aboriginal tribes and all that. I've never really enjoyed it. But I like Celtic tribal culture, Saxon tribal culture. They're equally bloody barbaric, let's be honest, you know what I mean? You've got some people chopping heads off and putting skulls up, you know what I mean? And like just literally putting bones around their house, which is absolutely true of the Celts and the Anglo-Saxons and all that. There was like head cultures there, and it's like I love all that. But and I love the gothic touch to it, so I do sway a little bit on the goth side of all things. I used to go to all the goth clubs, I used to do all that sort of stuff. I absolutely love it. I still love it to this day. I talk to Krista Jacobson a lot about. Krista likes the goth sort of stuff and all that. I do love it. So when it comes to horror, all that, I'm obsessed. I also want to change the book. So I'll talk about books in a bit, but just so you're aware, what I'm thinking of doing is starting to put. I've bought an arm boom, which is a boom for my iPad, which puts it up here. Annoyingly, the light's in the wrong place. I can't change it. It's a caravan light. It's not a setup light. It's a caravan light. But what I'm thinking of doing is I made this now. You might not know, but there's a guy called Nick Mayer, and he helps me a lot, Nick, and he's a lovely man, and he's my test subject. And I bought this samurai model a long time ago. I've been painting it probably about 5 years. It's been in a box for 4 years, you know what I mean, 3 years. So what I might do is put the boom arm up and paint some of my samurai and just chat to you like this and say, right, I've got to do this, guys, this is what I'm doing, and you can watch me paint, because I've done it before. I've put all the images and everything, and you know what, no one cares. It doesn't make any. I remember doing a video on Chi, and I spent I think 5 hours creating a video, and it got 300 views. I did a video on Hatsumi where I just chatted for 10 minutes, 6,000 views, and I've put a crazy thumbnail of Hatsumi on. That's where, guys, I don't mind putting the work in. I'll put the work in. But if you don't see the results, and I've not seen the results now for years, then it seems a bit crazy, doesn't it? So I think my channel got popular off the Bujinkan Drama Queen Wars, basically, and it's never really, there is no love for stuff. And even the Jesse Enkamp stuff, you know, everybody says, oh, you know, is this doing well? But actually, no, they're with Jesse Enkamp for Jesse Enkamp. His samurai ninja stuff does nowhere near as well as his karate stuff. So karate, and I have been to a few karate dojos and done lectures and things like that, and they're like, and then I've asked them honestly, they said, we're not really interested in samurai. We like it because it's Japanese, but we really just prefer karate history. And you get those who just don't really know either the difference between them, but then you get those who are like, yeah, it's nice, but we don't want katanas, we don't want armor, we want, you know, karate. I'm like, okay, what can I do? So even Jesse Enkamp's videos, when you see their samurai and they dip, because the interest in samurai is not there. But again, we're going to approach that. So I will talk about my books as well. I think this is a nothing video, so I'm not even just going to ramble on till there's no one left at the end of the video. It's just me by myself. So if you start seeing, most videos are going to be probably an overarm boom, and I'll be able to finish this and finally give it to Nick as a present. But I'm also going to, I might just paint my my miniatures and stuff like that. I might do. So as I say, I really never liked board games. I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm not a board games fan. I actually, excuse the rather terrible pun, get very bored in board games. But because everybody got old and we're in our 40s, getting people together to a role play weekend or a session, you know, where you're like, yeah, let's go murder everything, yeah, you know, then let's do it. You know, now it's like, well, I've got a kid and I've got a job and my girl. Basically, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a geek, but I'm more of an alpha male geek. Like, I don't know how it ended up. I ended up being like swimming, sailing, archery, martial arts, going out there. Oh, look at this text. Put my glasses on. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, games, miniatures. And then, you know, women. I could do the both. I could do both for like, excuse me, love. And then I'd be like, excuse me, yeah, I'm enough for you. Paint miniatures. Do you know what I mean? So I was sort of caught in the middle between the two. So, but now all my mates are proper beta males. Not really. They're nice lads, but they're like, my wife just can't come out, Anthony. Do you want to come away for 3 or 4 days and we'll murder a village or something like that? You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm going to talk about role playing different videos. I'm going to go into it and see if it gets any views. So if you don't like that sort of stuff, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get this channel expanded. So let's see. So, but they can't do it. So now we've sort of gone on to quick games of like Hero Quest. I've gone that. So what I do is I tend to be a collector. I'm a completionist. It's like, I'm really annoyed Bansen Shukai is not complete, and I just can't. I'll talk about Yoshi in the books in a minute, but the Bansen Shukai is not complete, and we found the extra bits, and not only that, I found bits that other people don't know are there, and I found one sentence in the Bansen Shukai. If you can find that sentence, guys, you'll find what I mean. There's a sentence in there, and it led to the finding of another section of the Bansen Shukai that, as far as I'm aware, even the Japanese don't know is part of the Bansen Shukai. And I found it. Right. That is, and it's annoying that's not complete. And I will talk about Yoshi in the books in a bit. Yeah, we'll talk about Yoshi in the books in a bit. And academia and all that. So I've lost my train of thought. Locomotion. So come on, baby, do the locomotion with me. I always thought Kylie Minogue's song, The Locomotion, would be excellent, sung by Sean Connery. And for like 30 years now, I've done The Locomotion by Kylie Minogue in a Scottish accent. Come on, baby, do the locomotion with me. Chugga chugga now. Why is it not a thing? Why is Sean Connery singing Kylie songs not a thing? Don't know. But you know, I told you this video is about nothing. So I do sort of Hero Quest now. So and I stick, I'm a completionist. So basically, I've got a box with most of the Hero Quest stuff in, and I find it too simple, too basic. But I have to paint all the miniatures. I'm like, I've got to finish them. So we got to go through everything, paint all the miniatures. I'm like, get it done, get it done. And me and my friends go away for a few days and do a bit of that, and then do a bit of role playing with the other guys and do all that and everything. Just because I find that better than I go to the pub and all that, and it just bores me. I get really bored with pub conversation, and because I don't drink, I never drank for a long time, and I started drinking when I was 30, something like that, and I really don't like drunken people. Can't stand them. And about 10 o'clock is the time for drunks. If you start at 7 o'clock, by 10 o'clock I actually often just side shuffle out of there and get gone. I cannot stand them. So what I find going away with my friends to a cottage, getting the fire going, having a few games, lovely. Break away from me, just concentrating on everything, you know, ninja this, you know, because it's quite complex, the ninja stuff. It's like, as though it sounds like the same thing, you can play ninjas or play thingy. It's like, actually, you know, the ninja stuff is mind warping me. And you know what? I'll tell you this, just for fun, if you're interested in my life. I used to love horror films. I'm a horror film fanatic. Not slasher films. I hate slasher films, but religious horror films I absolutely adore. Evil has come into the world, or the dead have come back. But if it's a slasher film, I never understand the fit. Go and batter them. Do you know what I mean? It's like 12 teenagers in the woods and this one guy with a leather face. Come, kill him. Be fun, you know. It's like, what you scared of? Let's go get him. There's 12 of us. I never understood it. Teenagers, all you're like, no, go full commando, go full ninja, murder everyone. So, but because you do so much with the samurai and it becomes so oppressive in your mind and you're thinking about going through it and all this. Not so much now I'm building, but you end up liking rom-coms. Me and my missus watch loads of rom-coms. She's comedies. You're like, oh, that's better at the end of the day. So I do like to go away and sort of break off, you know, like have a bit of fun and a bit of this. So it's enjoyable. So let's move over to the way to approach, or the books. Let's go for books first. Right, I get asked all the time. It's been about 8 years since we published one of these, book 1 and book 2. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, and I don't care whether people tell me all the time, oh, don't tell people this, don't tell, keep your cards close to your chest. I don't mind. We struggle. I struggle on these books alone. I really struggle, and I've struggled more than ever in the last few years. And the reason is not the books. And I thought, oh, you know, like this book, Book of Bushido, I thought would do wicked. Like, you know, Bushido. how many people? Bushido itself has sold loads. That book struggles. I do well on Audible. I've told you all before. I personally paid for that to go on Audible, which as an author you never do. But I came to an agreement with my publisher and said I will pay for that to go on Audible, which was £5,000, so $7,000, and I will get 55% of the royalties as opposed to 25%, which is industry standards. Which means you get about £2.50 a book. So I have to sell 2,500 copies to get my money back, yeah? And you've got your money back. But the difference is with that is you double and half your money. So if suddenly that becomes popular, which sometimes some books do, like the Bantam Jukai, instead of getting £1,000, you get £2,500. Instead of getting £10,000, you get £25,000. So that's the gamble I've made on that, guys. But the simple fact is I could have published 2 of them. We've had enough translation done that 2 of those could have been published, but they don't sell well enough. So in publishing, there's the sort of this level and that level, and they are priced at about £30 each, which is an extremely high-end book. But this is the publisher's decision, not mine, and they make good money per book because Amazon take the first tenner. Then, you know, they only pay me like £1.50 for that book. Yep, and they get the rest, and they probably get about £8 a book. That's just the way publishing works, right? When they've got all their stuff off. So that, if they sell 1,000, they get 8,000. They sell 10,000, they get 80,000. Yeah, that's how it works. I get 1,000 or 10,000. That's how that works. But they tick along, and they've always ticked along. They never drop in sales. They never go up. They just tend to undulate in sales. Bantam Shukai tends to be high. Don't know why. Bantam Shukai is high. Shoninki not so much. You're like, why? How to Be a Modern Samurai does really well now recently, but the last year everything's gone dropped down. But YouTube has dropped for everyone, books have dropped for everyone, so it's represented. So I cannot go to the publisher and say, can we do another one of these, until we get another one of them, a big seller. This was my next big seller. We all, even if the publisher was like, yeah, Bushido, we see that, you know, Bushido Solo Japan is a good seller, it's a track record, they track all the Bushido books and say, okay, Anthony, that is a bloody good idea, you go and do that. It took me 2 years, I did it, came out I think 2020 or whatever it came out, and it's like, that will boost the sales up, so that these, which are far too complicated for people, and they tend to just flatline by, then I can do another one. But I Ching, they asked me to do that, didn't do so well. Yin Yang, okay. The Art of War, excellent, but it was Art of War, Yin Yang, that, and then that. So the last 3 books have gone, whoa, like that. And my new book coming out, Zen and the Samurai Sword, needs to, and the only thing I can think of is, I thought, I'll check the reviews. The reviews are wonderful for that book. It's one of my highest reviewed books. It's got like 4.8 out of 5 and things like that. And that's not me. I've not messed with the reviews. I've not asked anyone to review. That's what its natural review is. And people are like, we love that book. So why is it not selling? Don't know. But Bantam Shukai, yeah, no problem. That's keeping me afloat. I'm going to be honest with you, Bantam Shukai keeps me and Yoshi afloat, basically. And that's the only one. The rest of them are much lower sales. So except for the Audibles. The Audibles are so good, but you can't really Audible this Book of Samurai. It's a bit too technical for Audible. It's difficult because there's lists of things. I'm going to see in the future if I can do the same deal with that. Is give them the £5,000 and say, I'm going to edit that. Let's put it on Audible, because Audible clearly is the way. That sells loads on Audibles and not so much in physical. That sells good on Audible, but not so much in physical. And that done does. The only one that doesn't is Art of War. Sort of does all right on Audible, sort of. But the others do okay. So, this is where the thing is. People say, Anthony, when is your next Book of Samurai? I would love it to be published tomorrow. But until... It's never going to happen, guys. Never. Until we all pick up. And the only way I can do it is by picking up a channel. And I've no idea how to do it. I've tried every single thing in the book. Even, there's people out there, I've done them all. I've even been on massive channels, doesn't work. So, I've got to think. So the only thing I did was put up new channels to divide this. But I'm just going to condense them and do them all on this channel, guys. And if you don't like it, I'll do it for a year and see how it goes. So I'm just going to do loads of different things, from models to, you know, artwork to samurai history to ninja. I'm going to try and create that. And it'll all be loosely based around medieval and medieval fantasy. Okay, so this leads me to the second one, is Yoshi. Now Yoshi went absent for about 8 years. It's not that I've not seen Yoshi for about 8 years. That's why we've not published a book with me and Yoshi. We've not published that because they're just not selling enough. As I say, a book has got to go spike, and they'll let you publish a non-spike book, and the next got spike, then a non-spike book. But the last 3 books have gone, you know, they've leveled, and I can't publish another leveling book. So once we get a spike book, we're back onto that sort of stuff. This sort of stuff. So Yoshi was burnt out, basically. She did Bantan Shukai. She did about, I think, 250,000 pages, and she was just like, Anthony, I'm burnt out. And she went through, keeping her personal life out, she went through a pretty rough divorce with her husband. She had to go get a full-time job because that wasn't enough to maintain her personally. Whereas I've got my own books out as well. So I've got Yoshi's books out. My books, a YouTube channel, is just enough for me to stay alive. Just enough, yeah. And you know, donations at the end of the year, for donations, and people, I said that adds it all up. And when you add it all up for me in the year, I scrape in, and with living with the missus and she works, we just scrape in. So that's all right, you know what I mean? That's quite good. Whereas if I can build my YouTube channel, that'll take the pressure off the books and the pressure off that, and I can build that YouTube channel because it's, you know, the money's there every month, YouTube, but that's dropped as well. So we need to find a new way up there. But Yoshi now has had an 8-year break, and by 8 years, what I mean is I went and saw Yoshi. I had a holiday out there in Japan, and me and Yoshi went looking at castles and all that sort of stuff. We're good friends and all that, but she was like, Anthony, it's too much ninja. And you know what killed her? Heigu Yoko. So the scroll Heigu Yoko was so difficult, I think it just broke something, and she was like, I just need a break. And she wanted to do her own book, so she started writing her own book, but that never came. She never caught that to fruition. She went and travelled Japan. She went to all the sites she could in Japan. She loved doing her own research. That went nowhere. There's no pressure, no time. And I think finally now she's retired from her work, and she's like, okay, Anthony, I'm ready again. So we are working, and I have been working for about 8 months on the next book of ninja, which is basically every ninja scroll I've collected will go in one big volume book, and she's doing it, but she ain't rushing, guys. And but when she, you know, she's got to go through all of these scrolls, which is far more difficult because the Bansen Shukai is quite easy. What's funny is, like, Yoshi goes, Bansen Shukai is easy, man. She went, Shoninka was difficult. She said, Bansen Shukai, easy, too simple. But what we've got here is, so that makes it easier to do that. But now she's got to do all these individual scrolls, which some are social, which is crazy writing, some are not, some are religious, some are esoteric, some are Taoist spells and all that. So she's got a real nightmare on her hands now, but she's doing it slowly but surely. So she's pulling herself back in, and so Yoshi's coming back on the scene. But that's why I've been keeping up with my books. But I had to make a decision on my books, guys. I've got a master's degree. I can do you a super complicated footnote, this dry and boring book. But I tried not to. So what I did is got complicated things and put them into yin and yang, the art of war, how to be a modern samurai. I got Zen and the Samurai. Because what I've realised is most people who buy my books are not interested in complicated stuff. Now, I know there's some historians of you out there who might be annoyed that I've done the simple books. But what I'm trying to do, guys, is spread that word about Japanese culture. Because you've got this massive divide I've found. I find in the samurai world there's a divide which roughly divides into great martial artists who are bloody good but don't read, crap martial artists who read easy books, and proper nerds who read complicated books, right? So you sort of cut your audience in 3. So I've got to find a way to transfer complicated information across several books to build it up in an easy to understand way without pissing everyone off, because I've changed the format. Now, the format of these with Yoshi are always the same. Bang on translation, footnotes, references. It's got to be that way. It's got to be well done, professionally done. So that's what we're doing with that. But we're back on with Yoshi. We're only at the start, guys, so done. I'll say Yoshi has actually translated another book of samurai in the meanwhile, by the way. But I just can't take it to the publisher. It will take 6 months to clean up and then go 6 months to go through the publishing format. But we just need that bigger sale. So once that happens, guys, once we get a burst in sales, we can do that and say, right, Yoshi, if you're retired now, can you do 1 day a week for the next 6 months to clean this up? Let's do it. Which would be brilliant. I did have another idea as well, which probably a bit of a good idea, but a waste of time, was actually to go through every Natori scroll we've got, every single one, and pull out every single bit of ninjutsu, and just put the ninjutsu of Natori, which would be a great. But again, it's a year out of doing another, but you know what I mean? It would have been a bit, not sure. So that's Yoshi. Now, next one is the approach. Talking to Stephen Najiri. Now, Stephen Najiri, I'm not going to give out anything he says personally, but we've been chatting this stuff, and he has got a bee in his bonnet, and rightly so, I think, for he says people don't humanize history. So Stephen, if you don't know, is a Native American Indian, right? Whatever they call them now, First Nation fucking Indian, right? And he's like, and you know the annoying bit, Indians don't get annoyed with that. He's Indian, he's like, yeah, I'm Native American Indian. Stop calling me these weird names. So basically, and he's like, in my culture, we do X, Y, Z, and we appreciate the people. With, we feel the heart of the people and tell the from the story. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, and I enjoy it. And on the same wavelength, that's what I've tried to do, a lesser format. So you've got, here's a broad traditional history is this date, this battle, this happened. Yep. Then you get social history. This guy did this is how he ties his shoelace, this is what happens to him. And then included in sort of the social history is the gender politics. Oh my God. In this battle, we're going to do war. Well, the woman worked in a tent once, and she was at the front lines, and she was a nurse. She never got shot at, but, she was a nurse. Let's concentrate on that. There's a bloody war going on, And then there's so you get the gender studies, and then you get the very phenomenological, which is I go from, like Stephen, I imagine the human going through this. This is a human going through these things. Let's really pay a spiritual attention to this. Spiritual is a bit of a strong word, but let's make sure we understand it. And Stephen is very much that. And what Stephen doesn't like is the overhyping, the fantasizing about samurai stuff without the truth of this. Now, I did a few videos once. I remember I did a video. I can't even remember Stephen A's coming on. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. But I did it. And I think Nick's from the Shogun looked at a few of these videos and was like, Anthony, actually, thank you brought the tone back now. Because everybody goes very like, wow, this battle. I was like, and I showed videos of real violence and people saying fire themselves. This is when YouTube was fun. And I was like, that, guys, is real samurai arts. People on fire, people getting killed, people being beat up, bloodied, lost fingers. And I put it all in and I did a monologue over it. And somebody offered to pay me to take it down. I think it was took down, but I'd refused the money because I was like, no, sod that. This is samurai. And it really struck home. Well, it got took down by YouTube anyway. They were like, oh my God, take that down. So, took it down. Now, the thing is, so you got to choose to go down which route. And I'm going to have to choose to go down the slightly fantasy route. But what I'm going to have to do is make a pure, I'm going to have to try and please everyone and show it that the samurai are real human beings with real faces, real fears and real loves and hopes. And that deep down, we argue about, well, you'll find a period this and a period this, and I went on a Discord the other day, and it wasn't Nick's Discord, in case you're watching the show. It wasn't your Discord, it was a different Discord. It was for not even samurai related. It was for a fun game that I thought, I just got to go find something about this game. Oh my God. I left it straight away. I was like, the people, they will argue over the toss about anything. They just want to argue. And I was like, okay. And I realised, I suppose, well, Stephen Nojiri is right. It's like, the human side of the history has gone. The human side of history is really just not there. And anybody who does the human side tends to be female orientated, left wing. It's like, we've got to think about how slaves felt, or we've got to think about this. We're like, what about the military guy? Like, victimhood in World War. They complain at the minute that the Imperial War Museum of London has gone too much towards the victims of war. You're like, what about the guys on the front line fighting? And it's like, well, they were horrible men. No, they weren't. Politicians are the horrible men. Germany, 1939, right? Before that, coming out of a depression. It always annoys me. I'm trying not to say the word so we don't get a shadow banned on this. It really annoys me. Evil versus good. It's not Star Wars. History is not Star Wars. Fantasy is that evil versus good. But that's not how the word works. It doesn't like that. The guys in green are good. The guys in grey are bad. And it's like, do you know how many people were in the German army before the rise of the Nationalist Socialist Party and who were just doing a job in a world where your job was to take empires? It really perplexes me. Like, I know the English are demonised now, but 30 years ago, Germans were bad. English was good. The English were way worse than the Germans. The Japanese are way worse than them all. But we all love the Japanese now. God knows why. The Japanese have just pulled off the most unbelievable world illusion unit. They were the most horrible people in the war. And nobody's going to change anybody's mind on that. They were disgustingly horrible. They can say, oh, it's just because they were demonized. No, they were horrible. And there might be social reasons for their brutality. They've got an oppressive society left to brutalize others. They would go and do bully other people, etc., etc. But in them days, empire was what you did. And it was a positive thing. You take culture to other places without culture, you implement your government, take taxes, and move on. People die as you do this. That's what you do. Genocide was a bad thing. Genocide is always a bad thing. Empire building was the way of the world. So now it's like, oh, we've got to pay attention to the victims. What about the millions and millions of men, samurai included, who were brought up, indoctrinated, and told that what they had to do was fight for their lord to the death and do it while smiling and pay to do it sometimes. You know what I mean? Or die. And it's like, and we talk about PTSD now. Did PTSD exist in the past? It's another one of those things. That's a difficult one to debate because people say, yes, of course it does, we're all human. But then I've also spoke to close people who were soldiers who were like, actually, why PTSD is on the rise now is because there are no male spaces left. Males behave totally different in front of females. But now they force mixed troops. And he said, it's weird. He said, you used to have men's only clubs. And you go get pissed, smash a few things. A couple of people had a fight. One guy didn't really cry, but had a bit of a whinge. And then he had a right laugh. Yeah, up the lads. They got leathered. Woke up in the morning, hangover. Had a big bacon butty. Had a laugh. Hey, look at all the tits. Then you were sorted. He said you were fine. He said the minute they stopped that, he said everybody got PTSD because there's no vent. So samurai, in my opinion, didn't really have that much PTSD. They probably vented it, maybe in negative ways. Maybe they vented in totally negative ways, probably not. But the point is I'm trying to make is you have lots of men on the front line who are real humans, who really need to be respected. And we sort of treat them as computer games now. But if you don't do it, nobody listens. So you're in this like crazy world where all the big channels do it, and I don't blame them. It's like you've got to do computer games, fantasy games, history, random facts. 10 facts about Japanese samurai. Did you know a Japanese samurai followed Bushido? Because if you make it too complicated, people switch off. So we're in really sticky ground. Stephen Nojiri stays hardcore. It's complicated. My YouTube video titles are crap. They just tell you you don't have to understand them. They're very academic. My YouTube thumbnails are crap. And he gets really bad views. And he's like, and he won't budge on it. He's like, no, they want to watch, they want to watch. And then he obviously, you know, you can get deflated for not getting the views. But he is sticking to his guns. He's like, no, this is history from an emotional standpoint with an academic edge, no fantasy, and going deep into the human psyche. Yeah? Me, I stand in the middle. Hey, look at this guy, look at this painting. Hey, look at this. But you all know, you've all followed me for years. It's like, Anthony says, it's, you know, I literally... So I went to film the other day with a guy who's not even got a YouTube channel yet. He's flown from, he's in Japan. He flew from Japan because he had to do something with a business in... He works for, he's a scientist in Japan. He's an American scientist in Japan. And he was over in England working with a non-profit organisation. And he says, whenever I go away, I always film martial artists, and I'm going to create a documentary specifically on jiu-jitsu and on combat of Japanese jiu-jitsu, more specifically like a, you know, the BJJ avenue it's gone down, and go back and track it all back and everything. And he wanted to talk to me about ninja and everything. So he came on his own money. He came all the way from where he was, London, up to near me, Ely. They went on to Oxford to do something else, paying hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars. He hired a small room for, I don't know, $100, and we filmed. I must admit the bloody microphone wasn't switched on for half of it, so let's see if the actual footage comes out. But, and the one thing I realised after 20 years of doing this is I know a lot of stuff. Not as much as I'd like to. Not as deep as I'd like to. Probably not as... What's the word? I don't know the word for it. My knowledge is broad. I would suppose it's deep at parts, but it isn't labelled. I can't go, on such and such a date, such and such a clan did this. Such and such a thing happened. with this tax system. I just don't find it interesting. And it's one of those things where Sherlock Holmes was not saying Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes he says, if I can look it up in a book, I don't need to know it. The rest of it, I keep in here because you know your mind will get a bit overshot and tired. So he said, if it's just for me, if it's wikiable, what was the year of the Battle of Osaka campaigns? To this day, I can't remember. It's 1614, 1615, or 1615, 1616. I think it's 1614, 1615, but it doesn't matter. You're like, who was the protagonist? Can't remember. It's logged somewhere. Who cares? It's logged. If I need to know it, I will find it. But when I'm just talking like this to you guys, I have a wonderful depth of knowledge of the samurai heart and the heart of the ninja and what it means to be a frontline person working in a samurai world and how I can imagine it right out there, like it's all out there working. The fire eaters, the belly dancers, all that sort of like the Edo period sort of stuff, Sengoku period, town cities, the people in the hills, all that sort of stuff, whatever you want to call it. I always say Westerners like the butcher baker because that makes it much easier for my guys out there to understand. So the butcher, the baker, and all them are going on like Beauty and the Beast, Belle going through and all that, and talking to the candlestick maker and everything. And that is, to me, the heart of samurai, because when you do battles only, it tends to be you lose the heart of the village, and it's village life. The world is based on village life. It's that simple. There are mega cities and there are ancient cities, but 90% of people lived rurally. You can't live unless the people are farming, and you can't farm unless somebody's in charge of it. And the headmans of the village, the aristocratic, the warrior elites, the Spartans. The Spartans are an agricultural system. They just don't happen. The samurai, nobody says this. I think I'm the only person who really talks about this. Is samurai are agricultural warriors. They are reliant upon farming, and their farms were under them directly. And I wonder how much did a samurai know about farming? Yes, he might not got in the field, but how much was he there with his estate manager going, right, that rice paddy's got to go. We've got to rotate this out there. That's got to go. We've got to get them in there. We've got to hunt the birds here. We've got to do this. We've got to shift management. We've got to pull these trees down there. We've got to let them grow. Because the knights would have done it. The knights would have been, we've got to manage that forest. We've got to do this. And the lords would be making decisions and everything. They make real life decisions. Just because you're a professional in one thing doesn't mean you don't understand. And especially if your economy is entirely based on your production. That all changes for the samurai. That all changes. Like everything changes in the late 1500s when they bring them in from the hills, sit them down and say, right, you live in a city now, you're a samurai, you're a city buff, and you start getting urban fights and all that sort of stuff. Which, yes, urban samurai have been there since the day one, but 90% of samurai are agricultural. And they may not get their hands dirty in the field, even though some of them clearly did. We have documentation for that. So what's missing is the beating heart, and I hope I fill that part in. Is that you can go to other people for dates, you can go for clans, you can go for this, you can go for that, but when it comes to the smell, the wood, the oil in the wood, the smell of the wood smoke on the teapot, the tea, how the tea is made, what are they doing with the tea, how is a samurai, where does a samurai keep his armor, where does he keep his sword, where is his spear, what's he doing at night? Is he talking to his wife okay, or is he not talking to his wife okay? How does he tie his kimono? Does he have a scabbard hook, or does he not have a scabbard hook? What does he believe in? Is he a secret Christian? Is he not? Is he an opium Christian? Is it, what are the flavor? What does he do with the snakes? What happens when a snake bites him? Yeah, all these questions are the questions that I try to answer. And I don't have a word for this type of history, and I know there probably is somewhere, but it's not quite the social history, like the women here and the dark recess here. Because I remember doing Brock's. If it's a Scottish tower, is a Brock, and I remember this is the negative dark space, and this is this, and this is where and we just made shit up. To be honest with you, archaeologists make 90% of it up, and 90% of it is never provable and probably never true. I've been in with some of the top professors in the world, on archaeology, Britain at least, and if not the world. I promise you. They were like, we got pissed. We made that up. Like, making it up is not a bad thing in archaeology. You have to make it up. You can't not make it up. Nobody's writing anything down. They're saying you found all the animals. Like, there's the famous one I don't even know if this is a real story or one of those apocryphal stories. And the story is like there was a ring of bones, and people coming in, archaeologists were going, this is the ritual of this, and this circle here, and there's less bones here, so there's an avenue coming in. Turns out that was the campfire, and they're just throwing bones over their shoulder. If it's a real true story, I don't know, but that's archaeology. You'll make shit up from anything. I remember once somebody put a pattern in a bowl, and they were like, as they remove the food, the pattern establishes the world cosmic view, and the it's just a pattern in a bowl. People like patterns. People like geometry. I'm not saying you can't find meaning in patterns, but it's a bowl. You've gone too far. So I'm hoping I'm not that. I'm not Stephen Nojiri, who does one end. I'm not the Shogunate. I'm not Sengoku Studies. We need us all. We need all of us. Because it would be useless if we don't have the dates and we don't have the battles and we don't have this. It would be useless, and we don't have like Sengoku Studies is like what's happening in real life and what's the tax system like. And so Sengoku Studies has been doing a right good series of videos, which I asked him to start, and I've been failing, not really failing. I've done some, but he has been doing. These are Japanese words, and they're words. They're not like katana, tachi. It's like look at this system of government, and it's brilliant. That's really really good. And and Nick's videos have got like we're going to follow this clan, we're doing this battle, we're doing that, and Stephen's going like crazy deep into his Kusunoki lineage. If you want to know about Kusunoki, you go to Stephen Nojiri, don't you? And the others have pulled their game up as well. People are doing lots of pulling up their games. So I hope you're still with me. If you're rambling, guys, let me know if you're still with me and if you like these videos. I do sometimes like to just get it off my chest, but hey ho. So what I'm going to do, more painting, just because I'm hoping people will just watch, because, oh, look at him paint, because I seem people like to watch people painting, I don't know why, but people like to watch people playing computer games. That I don't often do computer games, guys, because I just don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. I do jump on the reviewing of stuff and of different films and all that, but I just so behind me. I don't know what it is. At the end of the day, I don't want to watch computer game, or video game as I call them. I just don't know what it is. I think they're cool. I think they're really good. I've never enjoyed them. I always found role play much better. So if you don't know what role play is, tabletop dice rolling. And so I remember when World of Warcraft came out. You guys all know it, World of Warcraft. Me and my mates were going playing D&D, and we had some amazing. If you play D&D and you've played all that sort of role play or whatever, epic quests, right? The kids coming in, hold on. Epic quests, right? And your mind is playing, and you've done something really good with your mind. You've learned a bit of maths. You've done all this sort of stuff, and you've done amazing stuff. And then everybody starts just turning around, and it becomes mind-numbingly boring. Mind-numbingly boring. Emma? Hold on. No, she's gone back out. Right. So it becomes mind-numbingly boring. And I never liked it. And while the graphics are cool and you can delve in there, and probably the graphics are now better than your imagination, and films are now probably better than your imagination, because you can actually push it to that point where it is 1,000, 10, 20,000 people on a battlefield. Whereas imagining 20,000 people can be quite difficult. I just never liked it. So I do tend to fall behind with them. I've never opened a podcast because I just don't have time. If YouTube's not a podcast, what is it? This is me rambling on for an hour, and what's the difference? I don't get it. So, and I think the day the podcast is probably at an end because people like video. I don't know. I don't get it. So, I'm just asking for those hardcore. There's a hardcore 1,000 of you, right? 40,000 people subscribe to my channel. About 10,000 people remember who I am. About 5,000 people will watch 1 in 100 videos, and about 1,000 of you will watch most videos. There is a core 500 who watch every video. I mean, if I do the shittiest video, there's normally, very rare do I get under 500, but there's 1,000 of you who are like, right, what's Ant up to today? Oh my God. So there are going to be 1,000 people out there go, Ant just uploaded nearly an hour of video. What the bloody hell is going on? This rubbish. So, that type of thing. So guys, I'm going to do a bit of miniatures. I'm going to do a bit of fantasy. I'm going to do a bit of Western stuff. I'm going to do a bit of folklore. I'm going to try and do a bit of everything because I need to expand the channel. And as much as I love samurai, I love other things as well. And I'm coming to the second half of my life now. I plan to retire at 80, if you're interested. And I'm now coming up to 50. So I've got 33 years to get I want to get to 100 books. And you know what? I want to publish a novel, at least one. I want to publish a series of novels. I'd love to do a fantasy novel. I'd love to do a historical fiction novel on samurai. I would love to do a kids book, and I've written tons of books in the background. I want to do all of that, and I want to do all of the Natori Ryu stuff, and I want to do every ninja scroll we can find, and I also want to do, and I'm really disappointed with some of my books. I don't know why. My books I get quite annoyed with. I don't know why. I haven't really done that one book that I'm really happy with. I haven't really done it yet. I haven't got that book where I think, yeah, that was great. That was great. Now, last time I self-published a book, which was this, which was Samurai Death Cult, I thought I'll go off on a tangent. Just didn't do well, guys. Self-published books never really do that well. I don't know why. Samurai Death Cult, I thought it was a good book. It's very much on the edge. My publisher refused it in the end. They cancelled my contract and refused it because they said, too much, we can't edit that down. You've just gone crazy. You're too... They think I'm some sort of, like, you know, extremist. So, but I'm just being honest. I'm not politically minded, guys. I really am not. I believe in world harmony. I genuinely believe we should have one world, one people, one culture. But I believe wholeheartedly that you have to take 1,000 years to get there. You can't do it tomorrow, because you know what happens when you mix people fast who don't get on? They fight and murder each other. That's what happens. So you've got to get there slowly, guys. I'm very interested in religious thought. I'm very interested in religious spiritual philosophy. I am interested in spirituality, but I never tell anybody out there because I really don't like the green candle, this candle, do this. I believe, 100% believe the universe is created for a purpose. 100% we are here for a purpose, and that there is some sort of divine spark and life after death, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe in religion. I think religion is man's interpretation of reality, truth. I call it the God eye. If God had an eye, if God exists, well, in my opinion, in my faith, if you like, God does exist because somebody created it. I'm not having that it's a random chance. I'm not having that it's I think the Tao, I think God, I think karma, I think it's all the same thing. I think it's Brahma, it's all the same thing. Is that something happened, sparked us off. It isn't by chance. We're here. Sort it out. You've got something to do. So, and you've all got to entertain yourselves along the way and progress. So progression is what's required. So I'm going to try and do all that, guys. So I might go down some of the more... So what I'm saying is, sorry, I'm interested. I would love to do a book on Buddhism. I would love to do a manifestation book. I'm not interested in that, but I do believe in biocentricism and the idea that the universe isn't universe than life. It's probably life creates the universe, or consciousness is a functioning part of the universe. Well, I wouldn't be able to say I could argue both sides. And I'm not a pure biocentricity. If you don't know biocentricity, life central, biocentricity, and basically it means that consciousness is here, which creates the universe, and whatever you see around you is non-existent. It's and it's scientifically proven. It's just wavelengths. It's just something acts in waveform, something acts in whatever the other one is. So you got the observer experiment where he goes through 2 places at one time, all that sort of stuff. I really enjoy that in the idea of what does it mean to us. So I would love to put it under the sellable manifestation key, but what is the purpose? What is the secrets of the life sort of job? What can we learn from Buddhism? What can we learn from this? One of my favourite books. I've only read it once or twice, but it's one of them is the Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius, which is a 4th century, 5th century guy who talks about Lady Luck and about the Wheel of Fortune, yeah, and about going in and out and what is this and how is money a reward? Is money not a reward? What does God do for us? You know what I mean? That type of thing. I love all that, and I would love to transcend into that sort of stuff. But every time I go to a publisher, they go, "So you've got this many subscribers and you do ninja. One more book on samurai, please." And the ninja books are always going to come out, guys, but I'm just going to do the Ninja Scrolls. And the idea is I need to get the Ninja Scrolls published first, all of them that is available, so I can then I would love to do a PhD. I would love to then do a 3-year hiatus, do a PhD, and do the ultimate, Shinobi, or, title Shinobi, A Guide to Espionage in Medieval Japan, down at a university. There you go. That's it. Shinobi is now wrapped up. There is nothing else to do. Unless we find more scrolls and I just publish more of the, that sort of stuff. That is my dream. That is my dream. But I'm running out of time and it isn't taking off as quick as I'd like it to take off. Luckily, when this build is done, I am mortgage free now, guys, bizarrely. So I bought a small cottage in Wales. I met my missus. I sold my cottage at a profit, a bit, a decent profit. She sold hers at a decent profit. The in-law sold theirs, and we bought two. We all put the money in together, and we've got two, these barns which you've seen, which are not falling down. They need redoing their barns. And we're using all the money to buy them and refurbish them, and that will be it. I will be mortgage free in a very posh house, in a very nice house. Then I've got to try and find funds to build an office, £30,000, £25,000. Then I've got to find funds to do up this dojo, £50,000, something like that. So whether I'll achieve that, I don't know. I've got to manifest it, all the secret and all that, which I don't believe in, but I do believe that things are put there if you need them, if you do everything what you're meant to be doing, etc., etc. So let's try and get that. And I just seem to be in a rut now with this, and I've tried everything about Samurai Ninja. I'm now going to try outside of that. I better go. The woman is clearly telling me that dinner's ready, so I'm going to go. Emma, come here for a minute. So the missus is I've been yabbering on for 55 minutes now. So I try not to put my baby on YouTube, because I don't believe he should. He's going to have a choice on that. But you come and sit down for a minute. This is YouTube. This is the woman. So I do everything for this lady, don't I, darling? Yes. So you've got to buy my books, because she's got a really bad habit of buying lots of makeup and things like that.
That's such
products.
a lie.
Sorry, not makeup. Products, isn't it, darling?
No. I'm very easy, low maintenance, actually.
She's loving.
No, get on with my house.
Basically, she was pregnant in 8 months, pulling concrete, shoveling concrete. And we got this guy, so we've got to do it all. So guys, I am going to try my best. I've got a family life, I've got to expand. I've got to somehow, shut up man, I've got to sell more books so I can basically keep this going and don't have to get a job. So forgive me if I have to expand into some crazy things. But alright, Arthur, you alright? Say hello to Grandpa, say hello to Papa John. Grandad will be watching this. Alright, Papa John, how are you doing? Alright, Grandma? Yeah, who's that? So basically, I try not to keep him on the internet. I put him off the internet because I don't believe you should with kids. People make them their own channels and all sorts. He'll decide that when he's older. Right, Bjorn, get off my book. And he keeps trying to rip my books. Right, I'm going to come for dinner. Right, guys, thank you very much for listening. Subscribe, buy. If you really want to help, Book of Bushido on Audible gives me the most. See you soon.